Bob Hallmark in studio, and we are still talking about something 2 weeks after the Rivers recycling fire right now. The recycling. Now, thousands of East Texans do this, and I'm sure tons of it is picked up every day across East Texas. We've received lots of calls. The cities have received lots of calls. Let's go ahead and put that to bed today and talk about what's going to happen here. And one of the guys that's going to explain this to us is joining us right now from the city of Longview, the Public Information Officer, Richard Yakeley. Richard, I guess you're still getting calls on this right now. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a lot of our community that was involved in our curbside recycling program that took advantage of that week in and week out. And obviously, that's not been available after the fire like it was beforehand. And so, the first thing that I think is probably helpful for residents to know is simply that we are committed to looking for options and to bringing recycling back when there is a viable solution. And so we are continuing the process of examining and looking for the right way to continue to offer that service for our residents. We know our residents like it, but it's probably going to take some time. We're not talking about a days or weeks solution. None of the options that are out there are quick fixes. So it's going to be a while before we can fully bring recycling back.
Now, for people that don't know, even though we've told them several times now in our newscasts, in Longview and in other cities as well, you can put your recycling out and it will be picked up just like it would ordinarily be picked up. However, it just will not be going to the same place.
Yeah, that's correct. Effectively, you have two trash carts now. If you take your recycling cart out and your trash cart out, they're both going to get picked up, but they're both going to be taken to the landfill at this time.
All right. Now, another question has come up that I have not had an answer for people. They're saying, well, what is this going to cost us? Or are there any fees involved? Anything like that?
Yeah, so one of the things we're looking at is actually potential cost savings to our sanitation program because of the recycling outage and how we can pass those savings back on to our ratepayers and our customers. One of the largest ways we actually expect to see a savings is in the cost of dropping off the recyclables. It costs us more to take it to the recycling facility than it does to take it to the landfill. We do not know exactly how much we're going to save, say, in the rest of this fiscal year. And so we don't know exactly what that's going to look like on a per customer or per ratepayer basis. But we know that that is likely an area where we will see a real cost savings. And we're going to look at ways to pass that savings back to the residents. Because if they're not getting the recycling service, they shouldn't be paying for the recycling service.
Gotcha. All right. So that answers that question. And obviously, you mentioned earlier, it's important that people understand you are looking for viable options in the future. This is something that we'll have to deal with for a while, but obviously some answer will avail itself at some point in the future. So you're still looking at options at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know they've looked at options, expanding the range at which we might take recycling, and also considering if there are going to be opportunities closer here in East Texas that emerge, whether that's rivers getting back up and running or other options for recycling. And so it's definitely a conversation we're having. It's just not something that's going to happen quickly.
All right. Best case scenario, just be patient while this is going on. For those people that have had those questions, I think we've answered them now.
I have one more if you'll let me.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, so every time we talk about recycling, I always like to remind folks that if you're really interested in reducing the waste that you produce, then there's other options in addition to recycling. So reducing your reliance in the stuff that you're buying or reusing the stuff that you have is great ways to help reduce the total material going to the landfill. So this is an opportunity to be creative. I know this is a real spin, but find a way to use those plastic bottles, find a way to use those cans, find a way to use that cardboard that makes sense in your life. And if you can reuse it, it's also a way to prevent it from filling our landfill.
Outstanding. All right. Richard, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Bob.